Okay, I already mentioned that we have these UT sustainability dialogues, and this is what we're going to do now. Normally we have the fishbowl approach. You can step forward, sit in, contribute to the discussion or the dialogue. Today we have a tuned-down version. We have actually only 3 people participating, and it's a short version given the time limit. So I'd like to invite Albert van den Berg, Cheryl de Boer, and Ara Ghani to come on stage. Yeah, and it is about climate, to be more specific, and not only about sustainability. And I'd like to kick off by asking Albert, yeah, we know you as a world-famous lab on the chip professor. So what are you doing with climate?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And in fact, I've been working on lab on chip and microfluidics, nanotechnology for a lot of time. But for me, the defining moment came about 10 years ago when I was making a guided tour on the Natalis glacier. You see it behind me. And I was walking there with my daughter and a couple of other people on this fantastic, beautiful glacier, which is about 600 meters of ice, the largest glacier in Europe. And we were enjoying a fantastic time. We were walking towards the Concordia hut. Concordia hut is a hut which is constructed about 100 years ago. And the hut was constructed aside the glacier. But look at it now. This is where the hut is, and this is where the glacier is. So now you have to climb all these stairs up to the mountain cabin to reach it. And at that moment, it really gripped to me. It's really so impressive, so big, that I decided at that point, I really have to do something. I cannot look in the eyes of my kids if they say, if you retired, hey, Dad, what have you done? What have you done? You could have done something. And so I thought, we have to act something. That was my motivation, I would say my glacier moment to move into the climate crisis. But I don't know if you also have a glacier moment for yourself.
I don't have a glacier moment, but I do have a very clear moment in my mind. And when Frans was talking about those students of 20 years ago and what they wanted when they graduated, well, that was me, 20 years ago, a student, an engineer, and I wanted to get a good job. And I had a lot of debt. I'm from Canada, so we have a big amount of student debt there. So I wanted to get a good job. And so I started working for Siemens. And that was me, 20 years ago. Northern Alberta, oil refinery. And I had all of these feelings about what my job should be. And then I was confronted physically with this. And I thought, is this what it takes to produce power? This is more than I could have imagined, right? So I knew the techniques, I knew the technology, but I was physically confronted. And I could say, this is the moment where I thought, this is not really for me. So I found a new way forward. So I went back to school. I studied public policy. I thought, okay, I need to get my head out of those books that I was studying for 4 years because there's a world out there and I need to make a better impact on it. And eventually that path brought me here to the University of Twente. And now I do cooler things, I think, at least, with the students of today who really want to make a change. So I was the student from 20 years ago, and now you see, hopefully, I don't know if I pressed the button correctly, yeah, that I do, I think, now cool stuff, right? So I work with students, I work with people who are really involved in the energy transition and looking at different water issues, and that is so much more inspiring for me than it was. And I looked pretty happy in that picture because it was kind of cool. But I have to say this provides me a lot more satisfaction in my job now. And especially because I get to work with really amazing students. And Ara is one of those students that I met in one of my courses on local climate change planning. And so I know a little bit about Ara from the report that she wrote in my class. But I would also love to hear her story.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Ara Ghani, and I'm from Bangladesh. So basically, I was an urban planner, but I wanted to work in the development sector. So I started working with persons with disabilities and for women's rights, for rights of the farmers. So here you can see me in a protest of the farmers where they were protesting for their rights. So while I was working, I was trying to find myself, but there was a moment there I was attending an ecofeminism workshop Then that was the moment that I understood, like, okay, I want to work in the climate change or environmental or like sustainability sector. So from there, like I started searching for masters, which would like help me to like get me those academic background and also like the expertise or the direction in my career. So that's why I came here in the Faculty of Geoinformation Science and Art Observation in the specialization of urban planning and management. So now I'm doing my master's thesis, which is on assessing the small-scale nature-based solutions to ensure environmental justice in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So there you can see me, like I organized a workshop just 1 month back in a very lower income community in Dhaka, which was to like co-design this a small-scale nature-based solution that I identified with expert interviews. Apart from this, right now I am also doing an internship with the Red Cross, where I'm trying to find out like the indigenous and local knowledge in Zambia, and like trying to like create a co-design tool for them that can be implemented in the latter part of the project for like climate change or flood and drought adaptation process. So enough about myself. Let's go back to let's go back to Cheryl. So Cheryl, how would you define your dream, like if I may say?
Yeah, it's a big question, obviously, and I think so. Part of it is happening right now. So today we are super happy to announce the UT Climate Center officially, and we've been working on it for Thank you. Yeah.
All members.
Yeah. And so on behalf of myself and Albert and Miriam Lausink and Freek van der Meer, we are so happy to be able to really start working on this. And for me, what I really want to see as part of the center, as part of the future of this university, is that we can offer these students from start to finish options that will help them contribute to the climate crisis, right? So right now I know we've got a lot of different educational options that support climate through different technologies, but I think that they're not visible enough, and I would really like to see that, and I would like to see more opportunities. So for example, if a student is really motivated, that they can start with their bachelor and they can go all the way through to their PhD and really have really important courses, really good teachers, right? So really a lot of support to help them make the impact that we hope that they have and that they want from themselves. And Albert, I know you want to say something about research.
Absolutely. Well, I have a similar dream, but then in the research field, because I see a lot of things happening here, but they're not visible enough. They're not coordinated. We have, for instance, one of our top researchers is now he's just got an ERC grant for studying the melting of icebergs in a very decent and deep way. But also we have people looking at sustainable batteries. Nowadays batteries are made with lithium, but lithium mining is not such a good thing. You know, in China or in Chile you have these lithium mines, and now people are looking for sodium to replace it. It's almost as good, but much more available. We also look at disaster resilience. We look at carbon dioxide removal using direct air capture and olivine accelerated weathering. If we work together, we can play a role also in the international framework. And I heard this morning from Simon saying that there is probably a European network of universities or institutes that do this type of work. Well, we are very happy, more than happy, to host the first starting meeting of all these universities doing this type of thing. So please bring us in contact and we're happy to pick it up. And I think that is a fantastic opportunity for this university to position themselves with the approach of combining Earth observation, geoinformation, social sciences, acceptance, and also the technical parts. So I think for the future for you, this is perfect, I would say. Or what do you think, Ara?
Yeah, I would say...
A perfect job for you in the future.
Yes.
Or maybe you should look here, maybe.
Yeah, so for future, like after finishing my master's program, I would like to work in the development sector. I would like to work for people that I was doing before my master's, but I would like to work in such a way so that they are protected from the impacts of climate change, so that they live in a better environment, so that there are environmental justice like in their community or whatever they're doing. So yeah, in future, I would like to maybe continue working with organizations like Red Cross, or maybe
Yes.
Mr. Timmermans will have a vacancy for me.
That's a good one. Well, regarding the geotechno-social part, what do you think in education part? I think it's also must be embedded, isn't it?
Definitely. So we talk a lot about transdisciplinary research, right? So you move on, and we need to bring all these fields together. And I think at the university, well, at least within the Climate Center, we've been sort of looking at this geotechno-social approach. So how do we get all of these different specialties to work together? Because we know that that's the only way to really address the wicked problems like the climate crisis. But I think already in education, right? So we already need to support students in first understanding each other, right? So that the electrical engineering students can also understand the political science students when they speak to each other, right? And I think that we could spend a lot more effort really working towards a more transdisciplinary approach to education. And I think there's a natural sort of lead then as well to connecting education and research in a much more strategic way. So giving the students the real chances to be involved with cutting-edge research, right? So that they don't have to wait 15, 20 years, but when they get out into the working world, that they get to see these things in action.
So that's creating impact. That's the theme of this meeting. And I think there's also impact in direct business, because if you are the first to start business in this field, you can make impact. We see already now that big companies like Demcon, they're also going to sustainability, climate-type technologies. We have this company looking at direct air capture. We have the Ampera Park, the SmartLink company. So I think this is really also an opportunity which you should grab and where we should pursue our field. And well, I believe it's really an opportunity to get more students. We see the students, we hear the same. Students are coming here and say, can I do something with climate? And we have, for the moment, we have to say, yeah, well, it's fragmented.
Yeah.
It should be more visible.
And we're working on that, definitely, and luckily, so for example, we had the Create Tomorrow event a few weeks ago, and one of the challenges that we had there was for students to think of themselves about what do they want in their education, right? What would they like to see in their education that would help them to combat the climate crisis? And there were so many wonderful ideas, and indeed, students after that event came to me and they're like, what can I do? Well, it's great that you guys are doing something, what is there? So that's what we need to, that's sort of our next step, is to figure out how do we capitalize on all of this really, really great motivation and passion from the students that we have. So, but you're also going to join, right, Ara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am very passionate about climate change and issues like that. But one concern that I have, like I think you already mentioned about it, because I'm studying at Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation, so there can be a lot of specializations like geoinformatics. The people coming from those specializations are very technical, I would say. So, sorry to my technical friends. They lack sometimes like the basic knowledge about like the climate change or societal issues that is like happening around us. So maybe that point we should focus on, like through the Climate Center, like initiatives such as like all the students could be part of it, not just like a master's program or like a bachelor program through the Climate Center, but small scale initiatives that could like integrate all the students from all the disciplines, especially the technical students.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think to all of you, if you have ideas or suggestions, or if you want to participate, please contact us. There's a website, you can find everything you need there. You can contact us. And I think we have told our dreams now, but we're very curious to hear the dream of Tom. What is your dream? Where should it be in a couple of years from now? How should our university be in 5 years from now?
I think we should be well known for our solutions to the climate crisis. And I thank you for your contributions, because we're on time.
Okay.
Thank you.